No Talk Connection podcast viewers and listeners, welcome back to the most extreme and violence you'll ever experience on the No So Extreme Three-Way Dance. JT, Jenny, and Matt coming at you on our trek through the history of Extreme Championship Wrestling. How you folks doing tonight?
It's extreme allergy season.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've all been affected, sadly.
Pollen flying everywhere like blood and sawdust through the ECW arena.
It's going to be the extreme hackway dance because we're all going to be hacking up along like Hack Myers. See what I did there?
Oh my god! Oh my
The
god!
Shah. Oh, Shah.
Bless you. Bless you.
Wow!
Thank you.
Wow!
That was very good.
If you're watching,
Sneezy Dudley.
If you're watching, welcome to our YouTube channel. Hopefully you'll take a minute to subscribe. We have lots of great content. We have video content coming every day. We either have a longer form podcast or some quick hit stuff that's like under a half hour. Also, during the weeks leading up to major premium live events for WWE, every night we preview all the matches, like one a night. So we're doing all kind of cool stuff on YouTube. If you're on audio, thank you as well. We're on all podcatcher apps under North South Connection, so you can check that out. On this podcast, like I mentioned, we're going through the history of ECW. We started in February 1994. We are now moved into March of 1998. We are going to be covering the fallout from Living Dangerously 98 here tonight. I think it was a show we all, for the most part, really dug. It was probably the best pay-per-view crowd to this point. I know we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, right? They were kind of at a box with some of the injuries and stuff, but I think they kind of made the most of it. So we'll see how the fallout goes, and we're going to dive right in. March 7th, 1998. This episode is pretty much a pure recap show. We'll touch on what they showed, but a couple of new things in here. We open with highlights from Living Dangerously. Paulie teases those highlights. We get opening animation. We go back to Living Dangerously. Jane Jamison is there. She's flirting with Paulie, and then Cronus slams his face into a cake for some reason. And then Nova and Meanie are giggling. So they love Jenna Jameson, man. They got her all over these things.
They got another 8 months of B-roll queued up for this one.
There you go. They got that one promo, and they're gonna run it to the ground.
Yeah.
Look, that cake was way hotter than Jenna Jameson. It was gorgeous. Like a quarter sheet cake, gorgeous purple frosting on it, and then Cronus's face. So that's how I eat cake also as well.
Probably a little safer too.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Just full face.
Joey's in the nest. He takes us through stills of the broken ring from Living Dangerously. He hypes up our next pay-per-view, May 3rd, WrestlePalooza, 1998. WrestlePalooza, perhaps, from
my
Georgia.
God.
The historic.
You waited for 2 weeks to say that, didn't you?
You had that queued up. You've had that queued up. You've had that one in the holster for a while.
Yeah, probably since our last. Didn't we do a WrestlePalooza? I think we talked about.
I think we did. Yeah.
All right. So the next pay-per-view, WrestlePalooza, Marietta, Georgia, Cobb County Civic Center, the historic building there on May 3rd. We get
random.
Random.
Yeah.
We'll try it. We'll see. Like, we were into the arena. We were down on Pittsburgh. We were down on, definitely hard down on, what was it? Was it Florida?
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. We did not like that. And then Asbury was solid. So we'll see how Cobb County steps up. I mean, it's a hot wrestling area, Atlanta, Georgia territory stuff. So we'll see. And they've been running down there. Like, I think they're on TV down there at this point. So we'll see. See how it carries in our next pay-per-view we get there. We get clips from Cyber Slam, Just Incredible, and Tommy Dreamer. The promo in the darkness from Tommy that ended with, Credible teasing Beulah's defection. Joey then walks through the rise of Just Incredible. Paul narrates the stills from Dreamer versus Credible Living Dangerously. Joey hypes up the ECW pay-per-view. He tells the fans to keep pushing those local cable companies. Step up and accept free thinking. ECW pay-per-views for all. So the original MAGA movement was ECW.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Freedom and liberty. ECW.
Next pay-per-view, January 6th.
Oh, honey bun.
We're definitely going to get a comment for that one. All right, Sabu versus Sandman. We get that. We get Paul narrating highlights from RVD Furnace. We get a Bigelow Taz hype package. We get the promo from Taz in the empty building. We get Paul narrating Taz Bigelow highlights. Joey talks about the broken ring. We get clips of Shane Douglas's promo from last week. Joey then talks about the broken ring. He says they did all they could to ensure the pay-per-view was wrapped by 9:50, so they had to cancel Cronus versus Snow and snuck in the main event regardless of the time crunch and the busted ring. Paul then narrates highlights of Snow and Storm versus Douglas and Candido. And then we get excerpts from the ECW Hardcore Hotline interview with Paul Heyman, where he explains that we're forced to have Candido and Storm remain as the tag team champions and won't take actions like other companies. Just because the champions don't get along, Paul doesn't give a fuck. So Candido and Storm will remain champions until a better team beats them. And if he suspects a swerve or double cross, he will evaluate which member of the team put their own interests ahead of ECW's, and that man will be fired. Matt, what did you think of this ultimatum from Paul regarding the tag team title situation?
I mean, it was good, but boy, it took forever to get through. It was a overly long explanation of this, like to the point where I kind of felt like it was done just to kind of kill time on this episode. Like it was very long. Like we get it, Paul. And look, I like hearing Paul talk as much as the next person, but like, all right, we get the point. You don't need to keep rehashing the same thing. So it was a bit much. But I do think it's interesting that, they're still the champs. They won't give up the belts, and hey, they're basically forcing them to team with each other. But it's just the fact that it took 15 minutes to get to that point. That was it was a bit much, Jenny.
I don't feel like a forced tag team is a very good idea. And then they try to get smart. Like, if anybody tries to swerve us, we'll get you. I'm like, I mean, they're obviously going to do that.
But that's why I like it, because now it's like a little extra bonus to their matches. Not only could they lose the tag titles, not only could they, have an issue and go to war over it, now one of them could get fired too. So it's like a little extra juice to their matches. They don't always get with this like wacky mismatch tag partner stuff you get in most, a lot of promotions. They don't usually go to this length. So again, like Paul and ECW has always been about putting the company first and the fans first, and he doesn't want chicanery where these guys are just trying to screw the other one. So I kind of liked it. It was different.
Well, I mean, we've had complaints about the tag division here for a hot while. Does this help that stuff? Does it help?
I mean, all I can say is Candido and
those titles more, less of a hot potato bullshit.
Well, I think more matches with Candido and Storm helps,
right?
Because they're so awesome,
right? Exactly.
So if we're forcing them to work as a team, I think it's a benefit, right? And really, if you look at it too, like where would they even be as solos? Like if they weren't in this team right now, like Storm probably there's not like a ton of space for him at the moment. Candido's kind of would be like the third man out with the triple threat, like Douglas, the world title, Bigelow's feuding with Taz, TV title. Like, what would Candido be doing? So I think it's kind of taking two guys that would likely just be kind of ambling around and gives them something. So
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Joey wraps up. He thanks us for ordering Living Dangerously. He hypes WrestlePalooza. And then we go backstage with a triple threat. And Douglas apologizes to Taz for allowing him to walk around saying the TV title meant more than the world title. He was about to admit it, Living Dangerously, but Taz didn't carry his end of the bargain. Bigelow is now the TV champion after putting Taz through the ring. Triple threat have all the world titles. And they have Francine, the real ECW sweetheart. And they talk down Snow. Says he can't stop thinking about if he or Snow is the better man. So he has to find out. So Douglas is challenging Snow and Head to see who is better. And a nobody like Storm is great just by being associated with the triple threat, Jenny. So I think this is a pretty good promo from Shane. Kind of resets us after the pay-per-view and makes it very clear we're obviously going to get Douglas versus Snow at WrestlePalooza. So what did you think of the promo? And what do you think of the choice of Snow? Is this the right way to go for this pay-per-view?
Yes, it's got to be. It's got to be Snow. Who's more over than him on that same level? I mean, got to capitalize on all that. And I thought it was a good promo. I love seeing all the gold together and Francine in the middle of that. I like calling Bigelow the Taz Killer now. That means something now, right? After Taz's epic run, it really does mean something. And the Lance Storm comment also makes sense to me, and I would agree with Shane. I mean, like you said, what is Lance Storm going to be doing if not feuding with Candido, one of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it has to be Snow. I don't know who else it would be besides him, especially with him getting the pinfall in the tag match at Living Dangerously. Like, it makes perfect sense. I thought Shane's promo was really well done here. You know, him saying that the company was not built around some gimmick. It was meant to be a pedestal for him. I thought those are great lines. And I like him being to challenge Snow, that it was not Snow coming after him. It was like, it was Shane going for him because basically he's tired of hearing about it and he has to know if Al Snow is the real deal. So I thought this was a really well done segment here from Shane.
All right, that wraps up our first episode. So we're gonna go ahead and head right in. No awards. I mean, it was obviously nothing new.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to March 14th. Jenna Jameson's backstage. She's flirting. She wants to give us a little head, and then she shakes around the foam head. That sets up a Snow music video and gives us a slate for WrestlePalooza. Then get our opening animation. Joey's in the nest. We're in the IBEW hall outside of Boston, and hypes up WrestlePalooza, which officially has the main event of Al Snow versus Shane Douglas. Joey makes jokes about Mike Tenay, Lee Marshall, and reveals that Lance Storm and Chris Candido will defend their tag titles here outside of Boston.
Joey was a little amped up.
He was,
I noticed a little frantic during this opening. Maybe that Boston energy.
It's that
I'm curious if something happened on Nitro because he went right at Tenay and Marshall. So I feel like, I mean, it wasn't Larry, so I don't think it was about the Spicoli thing probably, but like something in here he was clearly peeved about because he usually is a reason why he calls guys out by name like that specifically. All right, our opening match features Lance Storm and Chris Candido defending the tag team titles against brings us into our sounds like it's playing on like a really shattered Victrola right now.
Shattered Victrola was my old time.
It was a little warbly there for sure.
Warbly.
Little warbly.
Gotta clean the needle.
All right. Tonight's word to deliver here is cretino.
Cretino.
It's a very simple one tonight.
Nah.
Idiot.
Nice. These are always very mean. They're always mean.
Very aggressive. This is true Italian lessons, right?
Yeah, it's right. It's true. Yeah. There's never been a nice Italian, right?
They only speak in swears, I think. Like Adriano Massachusettsians.
Nice. Right, exactly. That's all I say.
All right. Better than Boston. FBI dance out. Big Don is with them. Looks like their problems have been cleaned up, maybe, the issues they've been having. Lance Storm's out with Candido, but it's Lance Storm's music. So Candido barks at the sound guy, who's wearing an FBI shirt. Candido goes backstage, and he re-enters to his own music, which is pretty funny. Candido and Storm argue as we settle in. Candido and Smothers start us off, a little back and forth till Candido tags out in frustration. Storm and Smothers tangle with Tracy controlling. Storm gets a back elbow for 2. The FBI double up to take over, but Storm grabs the arm and slows Guido down, tags in Candido. Guido gets a Rana for 2, tags Smothers as the FBI have really controlled the pace. Smothers chops away, spits at Candido into a flurry of strikes and a near fall. Candido bails out. Smothers tries an axe, but he misses and bangs into the railing. Candido gets to work. Storm gets baited outside. Rich works him over using the railing, then chucks him back in, and the FBI starts a quick tag and batter Storm. Storm comes rumbling back. He tags Candido, who has an awesome wild scrum with Smothers before hitting a powerbomb. Storm gets in a gorgeous high cross body on Guido and then shoves Candido after arguing. Candido gets rolled up, but Storm panics and saves his partner. Candido and Storm work over the FBI. Smothers goes up and gets crotched as Candido takes him down with a Rana. Candido goes up but misses a diving headbutt. He recovers with an enziguri. Smothers comes back with a thrust kick, a top rope back elbow. Storm hits a springboard clothesline. Things break down until Storm and Candido hit a doomsday device. Storm covers, but Candido yanks him off. The FBI heap back up. Candido grabs a waistlock on Smothers and Storm super kicks him. Candido takes him over the bridge in German and picks up the win. And that's a pretty fun match. I liked the final stretch quite a bit. I thought the story worked really well, too, with Storm and Candido struggling to get along, but they're focusing on not screwing over each other as well. So it's a pretty good angle, like we talked about. The FBI is perfect for these matches. They can hang with the top guys. They're credible because they've been champions. So they're always great in this stuff. So Jenny went 2 3/4 on this opening match.
I did too, and I really did love the FBI in this match. And I know we've talked about where's the Dudleys, but fuck the Dudleys, in my opinion, because I'd much rather see FBI. I thought they really worked it well, like you said, especially towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
You knew Candido was really going to milk this whole having to work with Storm thing.
Yes. Yep.
And the music is perfect. Like, it's a very awesome touch. And then later on, he'll add things to it and resistance. But then when he gets down in the match, he's just kicking ass. and trying to win the match. So that's what I was afraid of, that their matches would start sucking because they would be fighting each other and not their opponents. So I was happy to see that that's not the case here, but that edge of heat between them really adds a lot to it. 2 3/4 for me too, Matt.
Yeah, I went 2 3/4 like you guys. Really fun match here. Tracy Smothers, hailing from Nashville, Italy, popped me
Love
pretty
that.
hard.
Yep.
I thought that was a great touch. Joey also at one point mentioned that this building is going to be converted into a Buddhist temple. And then he asks the question, what are the odds that they will rent the building out to them once it is converted?
I missed that comment somehow.
That was a great line from Joey. But yeah, I thought this was a really fun match. Candido and Storm, I say it every episode, they just work so well together. And I think it's another reason why you got to kind of keep them together right now, like you mentioned earlier. And usually I'm not a fan of the tag partners hate each other thing, but it's working here because Paul is basically forcing them to defend the titles, and they're not really doing the stupid infighting thing because they can't or they'll be fired. So I think it's a nice wrinkle to that, and it makes that tag partners hate each other thing more tolerable to me. And yeah, this was just a really solid match. The FBI know what they're doing in there. They're tag champion, so it gives Candido another win under their belts. So yeah, good stuff here, 2 3/4.
All right. Joey's in the nest. He talks about a tough spot the champions are in. Joey then hypes up WrestlePalooza, talks about how you can pay to listen live, play-by-play on the website during the next ECW Arena show. So, again, a little bit ahead of the game on this stuff. I think we talked about this a bit. You know, WCW was doing some little things like this at the time. WWF was definitely behind, but ECW, you know, getting on the web and trying to engage, which they know is like one of the resources they have right now to really reach their fan base, or at least grow the fan base. Joey narrates highlights of Sabu versus Sandman from the pay-per-view, and that takes us to our next match, which was Rob Van Dam and Sabu taking on Sandman and Too Cold Scorpio. We go back to Boston, the IEBW Hall. Former tag team champs are reunited. They're looking for revenge. Scorpio dances out first and talks about living dangerously, how Sandman's the only person in ECW he trusts to have his back. Out he comes for his usual long entrance as Joey talks about the history as a team. RVD and Sabu hit the ring, and after a break, the brawl is on with wild strikes and cane shots. RVD and Scorpio head outside as Sabu batters Sandman with the cane. Sabu comes out as well. Scorpio's dumped into the fans. RVD follows, and they brawl out there. RVD chucks a chair at Scorpio, heads back to ringside, but gets whacked by a Sandman clothesline. Scorpio recovers. Him and RVD trade strikes in the ring as RVD follows with a plancha. Sabu sets up a table bridge. He and Sandman go back inside. Sabu pelts Sandman with kicks and a slingshot leg drop. Sandman comes back with a top rope run on a slingshot leg drop as RVD and Scorpio battle on the floor. Sandman throws Sabu into RVD and Scorpio and dives out after them with a plancha to a big pop. After a break, Scorpio hits a top rope lariat on Sabu as RVD and Sandman battle on the floor. RVD puts Sandman on the table bridge as Sabu hits a top rope rana on Scorpio. He tries a springboard onto Sandman, but he slips and collapses to the floor. Sabu comes back in, resets, and now buries Sandman with a really hard springboard leg drop through the table. RVD works over Scorpio, grabs a near fall, gets a top rope sidekick on Sandman, followed by a Sabu Arabian facebuster. Scorpio makes a save. RVD tries a frog splash, but Scorpio moves and he hits Sabu by accident. RVD kicks Scorpio to the floor. RVD and Sabu hit the total elimination on Sandman. Sabu goes up top. It's an atomic Arabian facebuster for the win. A really good wild mess, hectic pace, a good setup with all four trading blows the whole time. Sabu continues to own Sandman in their war. RVD and Scorpio had some good sequences as well. Nothing to blow you away, but a really good showcase for this crowd in Boston on the road and continuing to give RVD and Sabu quality wins. So I went 3 stars, Matt. I like this. It was a solid tag and had some really fun spots.
Yeah, I went 3 1/4 on this really fun match. Super fast pace, and it was kind of like an express lane version of one of these matches, just super fast pace. I don't even know if it went 10 minutes. It felt like it did, and it just kind of flew by. RVD chucking a row of chairs at Scorpio was a great spot, and Scorpio selling that was great. Sabu crotching himself on the railing as he goes to the table was brutal. That could have ended very poorly for one Sabu, but yeah, the crowd was red hot for it. I thought the ending was a little wonky. Sabu almost fell off the top with that face buster, but at least he hit it. So that could have ended poorly too. But yeah, a wild sprint, fun stuff. 3 1/4, Jenny.
3 1/4 for me as well. Sabu and his blood-stained colored pants tonight. Like, And it's fitting considering how much blood he's taken thus far from Sandman and continues to do so in this match. I really like the pace of it. I really like the old school ECW feel of it too, with Sandman and Scorpio together. I love that I know the history of them, and so it sort of adds something just for me in this match, because kind of not used to that feeling, and I like it when it comes around. But Sandman's lively for this. He's not lazy, and him and Scorp just had that same magic, that same wild brawling style. I think even Scorpio pulls out a cartwheel at some point, so he was trying to show off for Sabu, I think. The Sabotch was one of the biggest ones I've seen from him, which was great. I kind of mark for those now. So yeah, I mean, it's not an all-time classic, but it's a very solid match, and anybody who got to see it in Boston was lucky.
Okay, Joey's in the nest. He hypes up the next arena show on March 21st, as well as WrestlePalooza. Backstage, Bigelow talks about winning the TV title in his hometown, why he's now the Taz Killer. He talks about watching wrestling in juvie and how the old wrestlers always dared challengers to come take their titles, and he did the same thing. That then brings us to our Pulp Fiction. Joey's still trying out bad jokes. Sabu is stoic, and RVD looks antsy as Fonzie rants about next week's show. He pumps up Sabu. RVD then puts himself over while backhandedly taking his Sabu shots as always. Uses his fingers to whistle like Fonzie when they're trying to wrap up. Joey's still ranting. He shits on Lance Wright. New Jack is in an alley. Says he's not a studio gangster or a cartoon character, just an OG. Fran Dean then mocks the big mystery punter stuff, and then Douglas rants about Al Snow, seeming very frustrated about Snow's head games. Francine says she had to console Shane and talks about screaming for names to do so. Douglas then snaps about the head fans. Shane says that WrestlePalooza, ECW is his company, his belt, and Snow is another pretender, and we'll find out what the belly-to-belly means and why he is the franchise. So, Jenny, what did you think of our Pulp Fiction?
It was decent. I mean, not very long, just a couple of little promos. Fonzie's screaming, just screaming his balls off. But RVD wants to be the main man of this trio. But I loved Sabu in this. He's so good just playing off against this random insults from RVD, and like he like touches him, like he's just mouthing off, and he goes, "Fucker," and he just swats him like a cat. It's hilarious. It's great. New Jack, he said he's the original vibe gangsta, so I liked that. And Shane looks definitely sane and stable going into his Al Snow.
He's more cracked than Snow, I think, at this point. This, the head stuff is driving him nuts.
I don't trust it. I don't trust Shane ever. You know, he's the king of swerves. So, no thank you. I'm not buying his crack up. He's going to have to do better than that.
Yeah, I thought Shane was great here again. I mean, you know, saying how he was embarrassed at the biggest pay-per-view in company history, and he's just pacing back and forth with that manic look on his face, basically trying to convince himself that Snow's antics don't bother him. Like, I thought that was really well done. Calls Snow another pretender to the throne. So I thought he was kind of the star of this. It's not the best Pulp Fiction. We've definitely seen better. Fonzie, like you said, Jenny, just fucking screaming at the top of his lungs. God knows what he was saying. I wasn't going to try and decipher it, but yeah. Definitely on the lower end of Pulp Fictions we've seen, but still pretty good, mostly because of Shane.
All right. So that wraps us up. Let's get to our awards for this episode. Best match, I went with the tag, the RVD and Sabu tag.
Yep.
Yes.
And worst match, I mean, it's still really good, but FBI versus Candido Storm. The ones we saw. Yep. Best moment, we didn't have a lot of moments, really. I went with the reunion of Sandman and Scorpio.
That's good. I like Candido asking to switch his music.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a nice touch. I think I'll go with that.
Most 90s, I went with Scorpio and Sandman reuniting. I guess Jenna Jameson's always in there, too.
Yeah, always in the mix.
Yep.
Stock Rising, I went Candido and Storm, Douglas and RVD and Sabu.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Stock Falling, I went Mike Tenay, Lee Marshall. I just got on this episode.
They don't even work here, and they're falling.
Fucking Fonzie and his screaming ass.
Final grade, this is a good episode. I mean, a 3 and a 2 3/4 for me. not a lot else going on. Like it's one of those ones you felt like definitely a holding pattern before the new arena refresh. They just kind of pulled shit off a house show in Boston. So I went 6 out of 10. Like it was a fun watch. It was a little above average, but if there's ones you got to skip, if you're trying to buzz through and you skip this one, you're not going to miss anything really.
Yeah, I would be right there. I thought about the 5.5, but I really like those para matches. So 6 for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much going on at this show. It was basically just house show matches, like you said. So I went 6 on it too. The matches were good at least, but outside of that, not much.
All right, let's get to our final installment here. We're going to go to March 21st, 1998. An angry Paul Heyman is in the ring in Queens. He says 11 months ago, he was told they could air a pay-per-view in Idaho, Los Angeles, Philly, and Time Warner agreed to air the pay-per-view, but the revolution has to still be fought. People with brains as small as McMahon said ECW is too violent and sexual to air. Everyone faxed and wrote and emailed, and as a family, ECW fans stood up for their First Amendment rights and did stuff the WCW and WWE fans are loyal enough or don't care to do. They fought a revolution, and because of their fans, ECW has cleared Cablevision. So a big win for them to clear Cablevision and get their pay-per-views airing in, I guess, the greater New York market now. So big deal for them for sure. That's one of their hot spots. Anyone who's ever had Cablevision will tell you it's not the easiest group to deal with, a bit of a nightmare. It's been 20 years since I've had to deal with them, and I remember hating them quite a bit. Way behind the times on a lot of things, at least when I had it. I don't think it's changed terribly much. So you think in a major market like New York, you'd have like a top tier cable company, but definitely not. So anyway, big news for them by Paul Jenny for clearing Cablevision.
Was this big news at the time? I mean, like, did you guys hear about this or read it? Like, did you care, or is this something anybody fucks with?
I don't think it was probably on my radar at all.
Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't ordering any of these. I wasn't even. I had no way to watch regularly, so like I probably was going to order. I had to save my money to spend on WWE pay-per-views at this point.
Right.
So,
I got more in ECW in '99, so this to me like wasn't.
I
think they were already on Viewer's Choice anyway, so I probably could have ordered them at this point anyway. So I didn't have Cablevision.
It is interesting that they were doing those type of crowds at the Elks without being on cable in New York.
All the tapes, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, Paul makes it like seem like a big deal. So
it feels like they won a massive war.
Yeah, I mean, he's like doing a whole coke-fueled promo. Yeah. So I was happy for them. You know,
I mean, great. Jenny, you're doing a podcast right now where you're talking about cult documentaries. Like,
yeah,
you could probably do an ECW DVD documentary, and it's a cult. Right? It's fine. Like no one gets hurt. Well, I guess some people get hurt, but it's whatever. But it's a cult. Like Heyman is a cult leader. Like that's the way he presents himself, the way he talks to his followers that are incredibly loyal, no matter what. Even if something sucks, they buy in that it's awesome. And like this is like him against the world. This is Heyman against the world, right? Like it's ECW versus everyone, and we finally conquered a new, land by taking down Cablevision, and they're fighting against the big dogs in WWF and WCW. So this is cult leader Heyman out there like preaching to the followers.
That moment when you realize you're in a cult and it's led by Paul Heyman.
I mean,
I think most knew it at the time.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Anything you say.
I mean, it was definitely a thing at the time. Like people said it. There was like, Heyman's Kool-Aid, and it was treated that way. It wasn't like, I don't think anyone ran from it or hid from it. It was like clearly, it's a brilliant marketing, like brilliant promotion by him to do it this way.
Brilliant.
So, by bringing the fans in so close, make them feel like it's all them against everyone else. So
he bought everyone in the back white sneakers, and they were instructed to put them on.
All right, we get our opening animation. Joey's in the ring. He's fired up. Welcomes us to the Big Ass Extreme Bash. It's back, I guess. The crowd fires up.
What?
That's the Big Ass Extreme Bash. That was like a big marker for us on this podcast, the one from '96. That was like the end of Cactus and Mikey. Cactus was leaving. Matt, I think that's when you came in. Wasn't that like your first show?
It was like right around there. Yeah,
that was like it was 2 years into the project. Actually, it was our halfway point at this point. It was like exactly 2 years in for us. So it's big asses.
Yeah,
it's very always have a special place in our heart for sure.
We like big asses.
Can't lie.
The crowd fires up a loud Philly sucks chant. Joey talks about WrestlePalooza. Douglas is defending against Snow. Douglas heads to the ring alongside Francine, starts talking right away how he's the reason ECW even exists. Starts choking at Joey, grabs Francine's hand. She tries to calm him down. Candido comes in and Shane shoves him down. Joey keeps apologizing for the joke. Bigelow comes out and he subdues Shane. And we go to break as it's very obvious Mr. Douglas is completely on edge. Snow has him rattled. He doesn't know where to think, what to believe. And he's clearly shaking that.
He's shaking like the heads in the crowd every time he says something. So, yeah, again, I think Shane has really been the star of these 3 episodes. He's been great during all of these, and just him like grabbing Joey by the collar. That's a thing you don't see a lot of people do. So I thought that was he's just he's kind of angry. I mean, he's always full of piss and vinegar and angry at the world, but it seems like he's extra angry now. Like when Bam Bam has to come out to calm you down, you're kind of teetering on the edge there, pal. So, but yeah, he just can't handle all the Alsto stuff, and I think he's been it's an interesting way to go about doing this feud. I don't know if it necessarily needed this, but I like that they're doing this feud. So it's interesting to see, Jenny. It's not what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, grabbing Joey is definitely one way to piss me off real quick. I did not enjoy that when Joey's manhandled. So I appreciate the effort put in. I mean, I'm still thinking that Shane is all working us, so I just don't. I enjoy the attempt. I think it looks good. I like how scared Francine gets and she like cowers behind Joey. It's kind of funny, but I don't think Shane is so easily unhinged. I'll say.
All right. We get to our opening match, and that is Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney, otherwise known as Rotten Balls around these parts, taking on a brand new tag team of Dangerous Danny Doring and the Amish Roadkill. So we've seen Roadkill before, not Amish, but just Roadkill in the past. He's now converted. And Lance Wright is with this new team. And he's also got a new bodyguard, Darren Drozdoff. So not quite a WWF star yet, but he's a WWF signee. So similar to Brockus and others, they've sent him down here to kind of keep busy a little bit before they debut him on TV. So, I mean, whatever. We'll see Doring and Roadkill quite a bit down these final few years, but they are obviously now officially on the program. Axel smashes Draws with a chair as Doring tries to take control. Axel throws him around. Balls comes in and puts Doring over his shoulder. Axel smashes him with a top rope axe handle. Balls is right back in, drops a leg as Doring's in the soup. Balls misses a moonsault. Roadkill gets a tag and hammers on Balls. We get a fuck the Amish chant as Roadkill splashes Balls twice. But he misses a punch and Balls hits a back suplex. Axel comes with a flurry. Joey says if they win here, they'll retain their top contender status and challenge for the belts at WrestlePalooza. Balls sets up the Nutcracker Suite on Roadkill, but he drops him and gets a chair instead. Axel gets one as well, and they mash Doring and Roadkill with stereo chair shots to win. This is all right. Just kind of a showcase Rotten Balls as they roll toward WrestlePalooza. We'll see if Doring and Roadkill get any success going on here. Perennial loser, right? Probably not a lot of hope with him in their corner, but we'll see. So, Jenny, I want to start and a half. It's kind of a typical Rotten Ball squash, chairs and punches.
I got irrationally angry on the missed moonsault on this squash match. I just felt like, why? When you could have easily hit it, why? Anyway, fuck the Amish. That's fun. That's a fun new chant that we can learn. And I like the double chair shots for the win. So I did 1 1/4 stars, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I went 1.5. Side note: are we going to get an Amish word of the week now, along with the Italian word of the week? I feel like that might be a thing. No, I'm good.
Every week is just Rumspringer.
Yeah, butter churn. Yeah, I mean, I went 1.5 stars on it. It was fine. It was a basic squash here. The fuck the Amish chant was the highlight, and it's really a shame because the Amish aren't even going to be able to see that chant because they can't watch TV.
Oh,
so, star and a half for me. It was your fairly standard squash here. The chair shots were disgusting as they always were, but yeah. Other than that, it was a standard squash.
It's the real Amish. Joey's in the nest. He sets up our next match. FBI taking on Scorpio and Sandman. The FBI are in the ring. They're dancing to Scorpio's music, which was funny. As he heads out, Joey talks about Tommy Richard's basement wine. Sandman slowly ambles out. We get rolling after a break and some intros where Smothers makes the announcer call Rich the president of Italy. Joey hypes up the live audio stream of the arena as Sandman will challenge Bigelow at that show. We finally start with Smothers and Scorpio locking up. Scorpio shoots Smothers around and dances. Smothers talks some shit, slaps Scorpio. Scorpio runs through a flurry of impact offense to near falls. Guido tries to help, but Scorpio cuts through both guys and cleans them out. Sandman comes in, but Guido catches him with a neck breaker, stomps away. Smothers comes in, the FBI start to work together. Sandman fights through it, tries to come back, but Rich hooks his leg, and Guido shoves him to the floor. Sandman throws Guido in the air, but he lands on the ref, and things break down into all four guys brawling. Scorpio slams Guido, goes up top, and it's a splash, but there's no ref. Rich comes in, but gets knocked down right away. Smothers and Guido double up Scorpio's. Jeff Jones shows up. Rich has a chain and decks Scorpio, but Sandman canes Jones to stop the count. Scorpio hits a high cross body of Rich and Smothers, and Sandman canes Guido to pick up the win. And Sandman and Scorpio celebrate with a beer. Pretty good little tag. FBI is so much fun in all these matches, just stooging around. And again, when they're in control, they work well too. So everything balances out nicely. Scorpio and Sandman have that never dying chemistry. They're always great out there. The crowd is vibing on it. Just, a good TV match. Two teams that had their act down. I went 2.5, Jenny. It was just like a solid TV tag.
I mean, basically, yeah. It's the FBI just brings this level of lively, it's their shtick, it's their the shit they do pre-match and fucking president of Italy, like you said, the character stuff, and then in the ring they're just so much fun to watch. Little Guido never stops. It takes a fucking cane to his face to stop him in this match. I like that. That's fucking brutal. And I think both him and Smothers have really worked themselves up. In this little run of theirs, I feel like we have a lot more respect for them than we typically do. And so I did 2.5, Matt.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I went 2.5 on this. Just a perfectly solid tag match, but boy, I'm tired of the Jeff Jones thing. I know he's the FBI's guy and he helps them out, but it's every match. Every time he comes up, I just get so irrationally angry at it. I don't want to see him do this referee thing anymore. So, I mean, other than that, it was perfectly fine. Joey also, Joey's been jabbing a lot of people during this grouping of episodes. He at one point says the ring announcer's head is about to explode like the movie Scanners. So, because of how he was yelling, I guess because of how the ring announcer was announcing these guys. So right. that was quite the interesting jab by Joey. So I don't know what someone pissed in his cornflakes this month, but good Lord, he's just angry at everybody. So
a lot of attitude.
Yeah, he's very angry. But this was completely fine. So 2.5 for me.
All right. Let's get to our final match of the night, and that is Justin. I'm sorry, not a final match. Next to final match. Justin Credible taking on Tommy Dreamer. Credible's out with Jason, Chastity, and Nicole Bass. Two heated rivals here. Joey says Chastity is ECW's most well-traveled groupie. Wow. Credible attacks Tommy as he slides in, but Tommy comes back with a low blow and a side leg sweep. Knocks Credible to the floor with a cactus clothesline. Tommy beats on him outside using the railing and a chair with an assist from Beulah. Tommy pancakes Credible in the ring for 2, yanks Jason in and puts him in the tree of woe, buries him on the baseball side into the chair. Credible spears Tommy, hammers away, then hits a low drop kick, grabs the chair and sets it open, takes Tommy into it with a drop toe hold. Tommy's writhing in mouth pain, and Jason slugs him in the jaw. Credible hits a slop drop on the chair, kicks away into a swinging DDT. Tommy uses the chair to come rumbling back and spikes him with a hangman neckbreaker off the top. Tommy hits a Spicoli driver. Jason yanks the ref out, and Chastity rakes his eyes. Credible hits That's Incredible and grabs Beulah, drags her in the ring. He loads That's Incredible on her, but she slips out and it's a low blow. Chastity comes in. We get a cat fight that Jason breaks up. He mashes Beulah with a clothesline. Mikey comes in. It's a whippersnapper on Jason, Chastity, and Credible. And Tommy DDT's Credible to pick up the win. Bass comes in and kisses Tommy. He loads up a pile driver, but Credible makes a save. Credible and his crew leave. Tommy, Mikey, and Beulah laid out after a beatdown. Credible then leg drops Tommy's leg across an open chair in a very nasty spot, and then buries Mikey with a That's Incredible on the chair. Just complete beatdown city. And this is a pretty hot finish to a fun match. A lot of chaos, the usual hate dripping through it. Credible hangs with the big boys again, but this war is far from over with the post-match beatdown. The crowd was digging it, and a good way to reheat the feud, Matt, and keep the war going. So only 2 3/4. I dug it. It's pretty much on par for their stuff.
Yeah, I went 3 stars on this. I actually enjoyed this one more than the pay-per-view match that they had. I thought the pay-per-view match for me was a little bit disappointing. It just kind of felt like they were going through the motions for me, whereas this is more along the lines of what I was expecting. Just a ton of chaos, and they really packed it into a short amount of time, too. This was like another match that was like 10 minutes or so. The ending was great with, the beatdown post-match. Tim taking Dreamer's leg out was nasty, like you said, and Mikey eating another fucking tombstone. That's incredible. Jesus, he's Incredible is kicking Mikey's ass through this entire feud. Mikey hasn't done shit. So you got to imagine that at some point Mikey's going to get some sort of comeuppance, or you would think, unless Credible's just going to keep beating the shit out of him.
It's
for
possible that it's using
months
full
and months.
elevation, yeah.
Right. So I mean, I really enjoyed this quite a bit actually. So yeah, I thought Credible grabbing Beulah was interesting. Jason coming in, laying Beulah out with the lariat, and then Mikey got a nice pop when he came in too and took everyone out. So a really fun match here. I was surprised Dreamer won. I kind of thought Credible was going to get the win here, but for me this was better than the pay-per-view. So 3 stars for me, Jenny.
I did the 3 stars as well, partly for a poster in the crowd that just said, "I smell pussy," and I assume that was because Nicole Pass was in there and Chastity.
There was a cat that walked by in the crowd.
Maybe that was it. I like Tommy working Justin around the whole ring, like before they even get in the ring, just really trying to weaken him up and let Beulah get in there too to hold the chair for him. I like that. A lot of just classic Tommy stuff, with like legit terrible looking shit, like the fucking drop toe hold in the chair into Tommy's jaw. That looked incredible. And then that Hangman's neck breaker dealie he did off the top rope was really good too. I don't know how I feel about Mikey wanting to run into these matches with his broken leg. I don't know why he continues to do that and gets his ass beat. Like you said, like, why does he keep doing this? Set the match, have the match, stop running in and getting your ass beat. I like the Beulah getting involved and Chastity getting involved. It's like, the classic Tommy stuff. So I'm glad he actually won. There's a switch up, but then, as usual, he's laying just flat out in the ring with his buddies at the end. So 3 stars for me.
All right, we get footage of Paul hugging Tony Edwards, who's the head of the New York fan movement that helped clear Cablevision. Joey then plugs WrestlePalooza. He talks about Tommy Rogers recuperating from injuries. Apparently he's still around. So Jerry Lynn and Chris Chetti pick Lance Storm as their partner to take on the triple threat here in our main event, which is Lance Storm, Jerry Lynn, and Chris Chetti taking on Douglas, Bigelow, and Candido. We cut to mid-match. Candido and Storm are throwing chops. Storm heats up into a flurry. We clip ahead to Lynn tagging in, cutting through Candido with a Rana and an armbar. We clip again to Bigelow throwing Lynn high in the air, hard to the mat, following with a headbutt. We clip to Douglas talking shit, slugging Lynn while holding his world title in his other hand. Excuse me. Candido tags in, continues to batter Lynn with a fast-paced assault. Douglas comes back. He's pissed. He viciously stomps on Lynn. We clip to Chetti working over Candido, hitting a power slam and a neck breaker for 2. Things break down with all 6 coming into brawl. Chetti hits a pescado on Douglas, and Lynn barrels into Candido on the floor. Storm gets a high cross body on Bigelow for 2. We clip to Storm hitting the bombshell on Candido, but Bigelow saves. He buries him with the greetings from Asbury Park. And Candido covers to pick up the win. This is all clips. It looked cool from what we saw. I mean, all 6 guys can work and cut a torrid pace. And all in all, it's likely quite good, but we really only got highlights. Triple Threat continues to dominate, but we got to see some shine from Storm, Lynn, and Chetti Jenny. No grade for me. Just, again, it's highlights, but it looked good.
It's frustrating because this is one that I kind of would like to see. I love Jerry Lynn, obviously, and it looked like he was having a banger match. Not surprised by the ending, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the clipped up match.
Yeah, I liked what we saw here. Storm and Candido worked well with each other here. Same for Lynn and Candido. I thought, what we saw of those 2 guys looked really good. Chetti even held his own here. I thought this might have been one of the best we've seen out of Chetti. I thought he was really well done. Really good here. All hell broke loose eventually, and then you get Candido pinning Storm. So it looked good, but it's another case where we didn't see enough of it, so I didn't rate it either.
All right, Douglas has the mic and hypes up Candido for kicking out of Storm's finisher. We clip to Douglas talking about being the reason ECW is what it is today. Douglas says he's made a career fucking with heads, but the styrofoam head won't get in his head. The crowd flings all the heads at Shane as they fill the ring. He kicks and stomps on him. Snow's music hits. He's in the ring to a pop. He hits a couple of headshots to rattle Douglas and send him bailing. Shane melts down, and we wrap up, which just put a lot of credit on Snow. It's good stuff. It's well built. You know, I agree with what we said to start the show. Like, Snow's the choice. It's lightning in a bottle. If you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? Like, WWF's probably going to come calling soon for this guy, for him to come back as he's getting over. You might as well take a swing at it and maximize the potential. We'll see if they put the belt on him or not, but he's super over. Acts like this don't always come around, so why not take a stab? And it's simple stuff he's getting over with, so it's like, might as well take a run at it, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to do it. If not now, when, like you said. And I mean, look, there's a chance the match could be really good. If you remember, they had that random one-off when Rick Rude was picking challengers for Shane. They had that random match at the Elks that was really well done. So I think now that Storm has really heating up and rocketed towards the top of the card, I think, you know, that match could be a banger. I thought Shane was great during this post match again too. Like, just his eyes alone, like just his eyes bulging out of his head, like he just snorted a mound of coke. I thought that was great. Manic Shane is great, as it turns out, and him just tearing apart one of the heads that the crowd threw at him. Just, yeah, more great stuff from Shane here. He's been great during these 3 episodes.
He really does feed off the crowd and just such an amazing way. And they give it, you know, they just give him all the ammo and he just runs with it. He's so good at it. Just really, and I love how Snow just came barreling in there too, just to fuck him up real quick. And,
do you feel that?
The whole head.
Do you feel Shane's like cracking is like warranted or earned yet? Like, has Snow done enough to him to make him really go crazy?
No, that's why I'm not buying it, because it feels like he's faking it.
So you think it's fake, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I could be wrong. Been wrong about Shane before. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that off. Like, to me, it does. I agree that it feels a little bit like, but it could just be one of those ECW things where they suddenly were in it, right? Even though we didn't really like see the evolution. It's sort of like, oh, Douglas is crazy from Snow, and you just have to accept it.
I need more. I need Snow responding, because we've seen Shane in all these promos. We haven't seen him say anything, so it feels very one-sided at this point. Like, what is he even really doing except for the crowd is, you know, throwing heads at you?
It feels like they're potentially protecting Snow a bit, like. He's an okay promo, like, but what's getting him over is just being crazy with the heads, right? Like,
well, just do that, you know, the little skit we saw on the beach and in the locker room. Just do more of those and direct it at Shane.
Right. So it seems like maybe they're just trying to, you know, slow play it a little bit to protect him and let Shane carry the feud, which we've seen before, right?
Shane's very good at going insane. So
he kind of did this with Bigelow, right? Going into November.
I was going to say,
where Douglas just carried the whole thing and Bigelow was barely even on during that. He's doing radio in Asbury Park, as we found out.
Doing something in Asbury Park.
All right. Best match for me is Dreamer Credible.
Yep.
I believe so.
All right. Worst match, I went Rotten Balls, Doring, and Roadkill.
Yep.
Best moment, I went with the Cablevision announcement and then the Credible crew beatdown. Those two were both pretty good.
Man, the ending for me, the raining down of the heads, and that was pretty great.
Yep.
Most 90s, I want the concept of writing to your cable company to carry
he said faxes at one point. So.
Yes, he did.
That's the whole thing. Rising, I went Rotten Balls. I went Sandman and Scorpio. Snow, I guess.
Is Dreamer rising or falling?
He's kind of in the middle, I guess.
Yeah, kind of always, right?
Yeah, right. He's very steady.
Credible. No.
Yeah, he's up. He's up for sure.
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn, always.
Nice showing for Lynn.
I loved him.
Stock falling, I went Lance Wright and Jeff Jones, 2 banes of our existence.
Yes, fuck them both.
We gotta name the award after Lance Wright.
Right. Yeah.
You would think so by now.
Wrong, right. All right, final grade. I went 7 out of 10. I like this better than the last episode. I think there was a lot to get into. A lot of matches. The crowd heat was there. They did some good hype for WrestlePalooza. Again, I don't think this is a must-see episode. Like, if there was ever three you could skip, it's the 3 we probably covered tonight. But we'll see how we continue to ramp up to WrestlePalooza. The last one had some good stuff on it.
It's the subtlety now, because I know you're looking for like all time. Where are 10 pay-per-views but like on the TV, like the details are what gets me. So the little things that I see. So I did the 7 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I think this was the best of the bunch. I did the 7 out of 10.
All right. All right, that'll do it for us here tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with 3 more episodes of ECW television. That'll be setting us up as we march ever closer to WrestlePalooza. Again, be sure to subscribe, check out everything we have to offer here on the North South Connection, both on our video channel on YouTube as well as our audio-only feeds. And also, NorthSouthConnection.com has everything you could want. It has all our audio, all our video. So if you're looking for one spot to visit to catch up on everything, it's right there. We're on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And appreciate all the love, the feedback, the comments. Just keep it all coming. It helps us get more eyes and ears on all our stuff. So till then, stay extreme. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.